I recently came across this new product from Snow Peak. If you're not familiar, Snow Peak is a Japanese brand of camping equipment, very highly rated. They do things all the way from titanium cook pots for backpacking to large car camping or overlanding, if you will, but car camping equipment, fire pits. It's really nice equipment. It's really well made. It's really well designed, and it is not cheap. But you can find it on sale frequently from folks like REI, Camp Saver, Moose Jaw, Backcountry. So just watch out for the sales if you're interested. I like to smoke meat. I really am a fan of that as not only the eating of the food, but also just the process of cooking it. I like to sit and watch the smoke and drink my beers and do that. And one of the problems I've always had is that my smokers tend to be larger, so they're very good for a pork butt or they're very good for a brisket. But if I want to just do a couple pieces of fish or cheese or something like that, they just seem like too big, too much. So what I've done is I've used my electric smoker. And candidly, the electric smoker for cheese is good. I don't know how else to do that really well. But for everything else, whether it's pork chops, whether it's fish, it just doesn't taste as good. I just don't think you get the same flavor as you do with using wood and charcoal. So I was very intrigued, again, as I said, with this new product from Snow Peak called the Smokemeister. It retails for $244.95, but as mentioned, you can get it on sale. I paid less than $200 for this. So when I was looking at it, I looked around the internet. I was hoping to get some idea of what people thought of it, how it worked, and really there was nothing out there. So I took the plunge and I bought it anyway, but I wanted to kind of put this video out to show people what it's like, what they can expect, what I think of it, and what to get. So for your $244.95 list price, what do you get? You get a stainless steel cylinder that's roughly 18.5 inches tall and 8 inches around. Inside the stainless steel cylinder are 3 pieces, essentially. You get the rack system, which holds your food and which holds the cooking racks. It comes with 6 racks that look like this, and they just click in on different levels depending on how much food you're putting in or where you want it. On the bottom rack, you actually use that for the charcoal, and smoking wood goes under it, and it comes with a small plate that they call the juice plate. I'm not so sure I like that name, but it's basically to catch any sort of juices that are dropping off the racks above. And what you do is you place that on a rack above the charcoal. The good thing about that is it also deflects the heat, so you don't have direct heat on the food you're trying to smoke. The second part is an inner sleeve that is essentially the smoke chimney. As you can see on the bottom, it has cutouts that allow air to flow into the charcoal and feed the fire. On the top, you have 3 notches, and effectively what you do is that you use the notches on the side of this rack system. They're the pegs, sorry, and they fit into the notches and they open the top or the bottom open, effectively opening the chimney, and allows you to control the temperature somewhat. Not having used it yet, I don't know what that's going to be like, but I'll let you know later when I get done using this. And then the outside is just a stainless steel cylinder that everything fits into, closed on the bottom. You also get a carry case that goes with this and a set of instructions, although like all Snow Peak products, all of the instructions are in Japanese. So you can try to make do with looking at the pictures and figuring out what they're trying to tell you, or you can get Google Translate on your phone and sometimes get some pretty hilarious translations of what the instructions are. For example, inside of this smoker, you have a lot of explosions of charcoal and wood, but that's the other way to do it. So this is really meant to be portable. It's really meant to throw in your car. If you want to take this to a campsite, you can smoke at your campsite. I think it would be really convenient to take wood out of your fire, small charcoal lumps of wood, just place those in here and use those to cook with. So that's really the idea behind this. I think that is one of the reasons for the size. Anyway, I'm going to try to cook some salmon later. It's brining right now, and see how it works, and I'll let you know how that process goes. All right, so I must confess that I did not want to screw up a couple pieces of salmon, so I decided to give this a bit of a trial run just to throw some charcoal in. So what I did is I put 2 briquettes in the bottom rack, and inside I have some apple wood pellets from a pellet smoker, just to see if I can get that smoking. This is just a test to see before I put the salmon on if I can get the right temperature. I left the lid on the top notches in order to let the most air in, just to see how hot that gets using my temperature probe for my smoker. Snow Peak puts a hole in the top specifically to insert a probe, so I just want to see how hot it gets, and we'll go from there. Okay, so just putting the salmon on. It's just 2 pieces of pecan, putting the salmon in at the lowest setting. And there we go. So what I discovered is that 2 pieces of charcoal briquettes ran this about 250 plus degrees, 250 to 260, which was too hot for my salmon. So I took that out, took 1 chunk out. So we were only looking at 1 piece of charcoal, which ran at about 225, which would have been tolerable. However, the wood pellets that I put in the bottom did not ignite, so I was getting no smoke from the charcoal. In fact, the charcoal ash just covered those up. So I attempted to make a little packet, poke some holes in it, put that in. That didn't ignite either. So what I did is I grabbed 2 little chunks of wood, as you saw, maybe about this big, pecan, ignited those and put those in. As you can see now, we're running about 210 degrees and we've got some nice smoke coming out. So I think we've kind of hit that. So it looks like real wood is the ticket, and not very much of it. So we'll see how it goes after a little while. All right, well, we just stuck the salmon and it is done. What I found is, after initially thinking a couple pieces of wood would do the trick, it actually, the wood was not burning hot enough before I put it in there, and it started to go out. So what I found after a little trial and error was that the best temp I could get was using 1 charcoal briquette and 1 piece of pecan wood. Very small piece of pecan wood, about this big. It looks like finally our pellets at the bottom have caught fire, and this looks like it runs pretty happily right about 225 to 250. I didn't open it up to see how hot it would get. That was kind of the lowest temperature. So what I would say is that for salmon, it ran a bit hot. If you wanted to get the smoke, I think it ran a bit hot, maybe 1 briquette. If you had lump charcoal, my lump got damp, so it didn't work, so that's why I'm using briquettes. So for salmon, it's a little hot. I think for chicken, I think for pork, it would be perfect. I think it's a right size for a couple that are out camping. So I think overall my impression is it's nice, it's good. Do I have a little learning curve? Absolutely. Is it necessary? Absolutely not. It's a toy, but you can do stuff on this that you normally can't do at a campsite. So overall, I think it's a nice tool, and I look forward to actually experimenting and learning how to use it better. All right, well, I appreciate you watching. I hope it was helpful. I hope you learned a little bit about the new Snow Peak Smokemeister. This was my first review ever on a product. I've started a site on YouTube called Dickin' Around Outdoors. My name is Dick, hence the name. So thanks, and I hope to be able to post some more at some point and that you find them useful. Take care and get outside. So what you get for your list price of your smoking racks in a cup